Hello everyone, welcome to Interview with Expert Season 5. My name is Divya Sriramlu. I'm the Academic and Research Officer of Malaysian Dental Students Association, MDSA. Today we have with us a special guest who is Dr. Elise Monerasinghe. Dr. Elise was previously the Deputy Director of the Oral Health Division under Ministry of Oral Health, Malaysia. Now she is currently working as a lecturer in SEGi University. Welcome, Doctor, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be interviewed.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so without further ado, we'll move on to the interview questions. So for the first question, Doctor, can you please briefly introduce yourself and share with us your background?
Okay, I was born and had my schooling in Penang, which was a lovely island, and I really enjoyed myself there. I went to university in University Malaya and did my postgraduate at the University of Michigan in the US. I served in Segamat in Penang, and then with the Ministry of Health in Putrajaya, Kuala Lumpur, and then Putrajaya. I have two grown-up children who are working, and one little granddaughter. Now, I've been in KL 20 years, so I suppose I am a KL person now.
Doctor, you've been working in the Ministry of the Health for the 20 years, roughly?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Doctor, can you, how did you decide to pursue dental public health, and what led to your position in the Ministry of Health?
Okay, it was a combination of things. I love clinical work, but I also like data, and I've always been a person who likes the nitty-gritty and things like that. And when it came to that point in my career, I had two young children, and so thinking of life as a clinical specialist would have been a bit difficult with two young children, and I was a single mother. So I decided to go for public health. When I came back from the US, we were asked to do a presentation because four of us went to the US to do public health, and we were asked to do a presentation because we were the first ones to go to the US. Previously, people went to England to do the DDPH. Ours was a 2-year program in a master. So after I did that presentation, they asked me if I would join the Ministry of Health as the assistant to the Secretary of the Council. I thought, okay, I'll try it for a while. Sounds interesting. Well, the while went on for 20 years.
I see, Doctor. Okay, Doctor, can you share with us your roles in the Ministry of Health?
As I said, I started as the assistant to the Secretary of the Council, and at that time, because the role as assistant secretary wasn't that heavy at that time, so I also was in charge of the fluoridation project and the fissure sealant program that we had. Later, I became the Secretary of Council. After about 3 years, I became the Secretary of Council, and I was secretary for 5 years. And then I was asked to head the new legislation and enforcement unit. That one, of course, we were in charge of amending the Dental Act, the enforcement of the private healthcare, which was actually the heaviest burden at that time.
Okay, Doctor. Doctor, part of your job was handling complaints related to dental malpractice. Can you share with us what kind of complaints you receive?
Okay, I'm assuming you're asking about, you see, there are two acts, the Dental Act and the Private Healthcare Facilities and Services Act. So under the Dental Act, it's mostly ethical issues. So patients will complain about negligence, fees, whether they were not informed about the fees, whether the doctor is overcharging them, and things like that. They do sometimes, quite often, complain about negligence in the sense of substandard work. Right, but this usually involves implants, orthodontics, and root canal treatment. Those are the ones we have the most problem with at the moment. Okay. The other thing is advertising. When you're not supposed to advertise and you don't follow the guidelines, there are quite a number of complaints. Those are they were on the rise. Those are the ones under the Dental Act. We have also got a few complaints of molest. Well, unfortunately, they were all proved to be true, but that's one thing we must be careful about. We have one complaint about drug abuse. Not that the doctor was abusing the drugs, he was selling the drugs. So there is that. not paying their bills. We had that. One doctor was not paying the lab for the work they were doing for him. Right? So, of course, the lab complained to us because he was bringing the profession into disrepute.
Yes.
So, the respect people have for a dental surgeon was dropping on the lab. So that was one. And we do have some where the practitioner is rude to the patient and says things that should not be said in a dental clinic. Okay, under the private healthcare, our bulk of our complaints were not against the practitioners. It was against illegal practice. So that was a different matter.
Okay, doctor. So sometimes the dentist can be innocent. So what do you think can be like the preventive measures for the dentist to safeguard themselves from and avoid such situations?
Okay. Sometimes when we use the word innocent, it sounds like, it's a criminal charge. And that does happen under the private healthcare, though then you have the issue of innocence and guilt. But under the Dental Act, which is more problematic because it's ethical issues. When it's a law, it's very easy. You just read the law. You should have read the private healthcare before you go into private practice, and then you just follow. But when it comes to an ethical issue, it's sometimes a gray area. Okay, so the whole thing is that you must practice with integrity. Okay, and do what is best for the patient, not best for you or easiest for you or even best for your pocket. All right, you must always think the patient comes first, and you must be able to convey that to the patient, that whatever you're doing is for his benefit. Sometimes, of course, they don't want to listen to you, but never mind, be that as it may. The other thing is, don't practice beyond your training and skill. Remember that whatever you learned in the dental school, you're expected to know. Anything above that, you should get extra training or whatever. Okay, if you feel you're not competent, don't try and be a hero, all right? And we have CPGs, we have guidelines. Please read them and follow them. Many people, when they come for a complaint, they really haven't read it. And if you should have a complaint against you and you appear before the council, please do not depend solely on your lawyer to have read the law or to understand it. Okay, because we would understand our laws better than your lawyer. So please make sure you have read it and you understand all the CPGs and the guidelines.
Okay, doctor. Doctor, what was your role in drafting Dental Act 2018?
I was secretary to the committee. Okay, so for more than 10 years, we sat in that committee. I took over from Dr. Husna, and it fell to me to put it through Parliament. Well, a lot of it fell to me to write the Dental Act, actually, because we discussed concepts and things at a committee meeting, and then it falls to the secretary to actually write the act together with the legal fraternity. So that was my contribution to the Dental Act.
Okay. Doctor, what are your thoughts on illegal dentists or fake dentists? And do you have any advice to the public about this?
I can't have any thoughts on illegal or fake dentists. I mean, they're illegal. There's nothing to say. But to me, I can't say wasted, but there was a lot of time the enforcement unit, not only in Putrajaya, but in the state, we had to spend a lot of time on this illegal practice of dentistry. There's the problem of investigating it, trying to send in someone, find out where they are practicing, get someone to help us to inform on those things. All this takes a lot of time and energy out of the enforcement unit. And once we have actually raided the premises, then we have to prepare the investigation paper, we have to go to court. It takes a lot of time. But to me, if you don't go to an illegal dentist, then they will not offer the service. Why are there so many people going to illegal dentists? And we have them in KL. We have some in KL who actually offer dentistry, basic dentistry, making dentures, fillings, extractions, even on the side of the road in Pudu. And I don't want to say that all their clientele are foreign workers or whatever, but a majority of their clientele would be. We still do not agree. We still try and stop them, but in a way I can understand that, okay, because it's cheaper, maybe, whatever. But when it comes to fake braces, that is the majority of our work. And I cannot understand it. So what I advise the public is that none of us, I'm sure you and me, we haven't had orthodontic treatment. A majority of the girls have not. And we look fine. Are we having a problem with our looks? I mean, you look pretty enough. So, you know, why is beauty become such, or being perfect maybe, or what they envision to be perfect, why is that become such a big thing now? Why do people feel they need to do that? So actually my advice to the public is to educate your children, to think of yourself, you know, what's inside is more important, not this, what you have on the outside. And if you really need orthodontic treatment, there are practitioners around. And let me tell you, fake dentists are not cheap. Okay, it's a one-time visit and it costs you about 800, could cost you 1,000 ringgit. And so that is not cheap for one visit. You never see them again. While an orthodontist may charge you 3,000, 4,000, it's over a 2-year span. You get treatment for 2 years, almost every month, every 6 weeks. So work it out, you know, it's much cheaper. So I think the important thing is we must break this chain of them actually having clients. If they didn't have clients, they wouldn't be practicing. So that's my advice to the public. Think, why are we doing this? Is it a fashion? Is it a fad? Do I really think I need to improve my looks? So, yeah.
Doctor, for example, for the patients when they want to go and seek an orthodontist, is there a way to find out if the dentist is actually licensed or not?
Yes, that is very easy because all the dental clinics are registered. So when you go into a dental clinic, the registration under the Ministry of Health of that clinic is actually, by law, it is to be displayed. That means it'll be on the wall somewhere, or you know, somewhere it'll be displayed in the clinic. The second thing is every practitioner must have his practicing certificate displayed in the clinic. And we are unique in that if a practitioner has 3 practicing addresses on his APC, he will be given 3 identical APCs so that he can display one in each clinic. You don't even have to make a photostat of it. They are given 3 for those 3 clinics.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And the 3 addresses will appear on all 3 clinics. It'll be exactly the same, the APC, but the council gives you 3 copies. So there's no problem. So when a patient goes in, you can see the clinic is registered. You can see the practitioner has an APC. In the future, when we have the specialist register, your specialty will be listed on the APC. So you can compare who is your doctor. Is his APC here? If his APC is not in the clinic, then he's not supposed to be there at all. So, but generally in the clinics, if it's registered, we don't have much problem with that. We still do. There are some practitioners that are a bit irresponsible and they hire people who are not registered to their clinic. But barring that, we don't have that much problem. So it's easy to identify a legal clinic and a legal practitioner.
Okay, doctor. So while working in the Ministry of Health or pursuing dental public health, did you face any challenges and how did you overcome them?
When I was working in the MOH, actually not many challenges. I wouldn't say there were many challenges in the MOH, but one thing that is different from the MOH from the private sector is that you can't hire and fire your own staff. You know, you're given the staff. And generally, I would say I enjoyed myself. Before I went to the Ministry of Health, one of my ex-bosses actually warned me. She said, oh dear, you know, you go to the Ministry of Health, it's full of these ladies and they'll be having all their little gossip. I can tell you my tenure in the Ministry of Health was peaceful and a wonderful experience, and I made really good friends. And when you think of it, the people in the Ministry of Health are like you and me. Why should they be different? Why should they be, you know, they were very cooperative. I didn't have any problems in the Ministry of Health, thank God. But as far as challenges, working, no, but as I said, for me, I set a standard. I expect my colleagues, I expect my staff to maintain that standard. If they don't, I will tell them straight to their face. Okay, this is what I expect. And so generally, almost all of my staff came up to that standard. There were a few that, you know, maybe didn't quite come up to my standard and got the sharp end of my tongue. But I have met them subsequently, and they have actually thanked me because they've gone to other units, moved on, and they've actually come up to me and thanked me for, what I have, corrected them, let's say. I think it helps. So to me, I would say set a standard and make sure everyone follows it. I had a happy time in the Ministry of Health.
Okay, Doctor. So can you share with us your happiest memory working in Ministry of Health?
Oh dear. I don't know what they would say is the happiest. I can't, but I would say what I am happiest about. Many people feel it's the Dental Act because it was something that, we took a lot of trouble to put the Dental Act through Parliament, and my team was the main movers in putting it through. But I won't say that because that is something technical. And if you know the law and if you know how it works, you can put the Dental Act through Parliament. There's nothing so difficult about it. But what I am most satisfied about is the enforcement team. I took over enforcement before it was really a unit. It became a unit under me. Then we formed a team in the sense of enforcement officers in every state, including Labuan and Perlis. We had enforcement officers, and I am most proud of them because they work as a team. They work very well together. They are brave. They are honest. They work with integrity, and that is something that I really appreciate in them. Something that it's nothing like the Dental Act, which is dry, but that is what brought me the greatest pleasure working in the Ministry of Health. And they are the ones I miss the most when I left Ministry of Health. Yes. My team. Yes.
Okay, Doctor, so do you think the dental public health in Malaysia needs any improvements, and what are your suggestions on it?
Okay, Malaysia is one of the countries that has got quite a good public health program, both medical and dental, I won't say. And during this COVID pandemic, public health has come to the fore because everything relates to public health. But to me, I have found that public in Malaysia, this is my opinion, of course, don't really value their health. The first thing is health is pretty cheap in Malaysia. There's nothing much you can buy for RM1 except a whole checkup in a Ministry of Health facility. Okay, so people don't really value maintaining their health. I'm not saying we should put a monetary value to health, but at the same time, when it comes so easily, we are proud of the fact that we have health centers everywhere. Even in the most remote regions, we have health centers. And that is a very good thing for this country. It's something that not many countries can say. And even if I studied in the US, I did my master's there, and I can say our health services are much better at a general level than America. You may say they have high end, they have things like that, they've got big hospitals. Yes, I agree with you. But for the man in the street, for the poor man on the street, we are much better. Okay, so you must look at it from the Ministry of Health is actually for everybody, not for the high end. Okay, so that's one thing. But when it's not difficult to come by, somehow the Malaysian mentality is that, oh, well, if anything happens, the government will take care of it, so my teeth will be taken care of. And we also go into the schools and we treat the children in the schools. Parents don't even have to make the effort of taking them to a clinic or worrying about their health. So it's unfortunate, but maybe what we should do is have incentives. I'm not saying change our program and make it, more expensive or difficult, but we should have incentives for good health. I think now some of the insurance schemes are doing that. If you don't claim, you actually get a rebate, or your monthly payments are less, or some things like that. Maybe that would be an idea that people will see health as, if they maintain their health, there's a benefit to it. The other thing is, in Malaysia, people feel that health is the responsibility of the Ministry of Health. We are supposed to provide health for them. You will not find this in other countries. You have to maintain your own health, but maybe that is something that, I don't know whether that is good or otherwise, but people have to be taught, have to be educated that they have to maintain their health. Not. So that is our biggest public health problem.
Okay, doctor. So your last question is, what is your advice to the dental students in Malaysia?
Okay, one thing I want to tell, I just joined a dental school for 1 year, okay, and previously I just came, I gave lectures to students and I left, so I didn't really know the students. But one thing I find, which I suppose I was a student too many years ago, but there's a lot of preoccupation with getting your minimal clinical requirement, with getting your percentages here and there, passing your exams. Of course, that's essential, passing the exams, but you must focus. Students must focus on their life after the dental school. Okay, that is why you are there. You are there so that patient will feel confident, you will feel confident. Okay, so I hope all dental students love their work. They didn't come in because dentistry is a money-making project or gives them the title doctor or whatever it may be. You must love your work. You must love your patients. Okay, that is something that really will make your life so much easier. And number two, you must know your work. So all those lectures that you missed, that you thought were not coming out for the exam, please read up those notes. Please know them, because when the patient is sitting on the chair in front of you, he asks you something. He gives you some weird symptoms and signs. What are you going to do if you've missed that lecture? That's not the time to say, excuse me, I'll Google it. Of course, the answer may be on Google, but, to instill confidence in a patient, you've won half the battle. They will hardly make any complaints or argue with you when they have confidence in you. And to get that confidence, you must be confident in yourself. You must know what is happening. So the most important thing is that. And then you must practice with honesty and integrity. You must do only what is best for the patient. Even whether the patient can pay you or not pay you is tomorrow's problem. So there's compulsory government service. I would like it to be 3 years, but not because I think you don't know your work or what, but to inculcate that government service attitude that we will treat everybody. If you can't pay, it's okay. Even the RM1, it's okay. We can sign it off. That attitude that we are providers of health, not a money-making project or a private concern, or we are thinking of how much this treatment will cost, which is a concern when you're in private practice. But most important is the patient's health. And we have to have that attitude. So while you're chasing your MCE and while you're chasing to pass the exam, keep that in mind.
Yes, definitely, doctor. Yes. All right. So I think we're done with the interview questions. So now we'll just have a fun segment of rapid fire round.
Okay.
It's just a short one, doctor.
Okay,
so,
no problem.
I'll be asking the questions, about 6 or 7 questions. So the answer that comes to your mind, you just have to say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Short answers, is it?
Answers, yes, doctor. The first question is your favorite childhood memory.
Oh, okay. When I was small and I was still in kindergarten, my father used to pick me up from kindergarten, and on some days he would buy me a donut. Until today, I love the plain donut with the sugar. I don't do Dunkin' Donuts and all this. I do the cheap, plain donuts. I still have that memory.
Yeah, that's really sweet, doctor. Second question is your favorite holiday destination.
Oh dear, that is quite easy now because I have a granddaughter in the US. So my holidays are all just geared to going to the US. I don't think of anywhere else. Sorry. But I did enjoy Sri Lanka. I only went to Sri Lanka once and it was a lovely place. The people, the food, and Sri Lanka is a beautiful country. So, yeah.
Okay, doctor. Your hobbies?
Oh dear. I'm one of those that, I collect stamps.
Oh, wow.
I love my stamps. I've been collecting for years. People have told, I've got cupboards and cupboards behind me are my cupboards. When I shifted to an apartment, I have 2 cupboards just for my stamps.
Wow.
I think I've only 1 for clothes. I've got 2 for stamps. Yep. So my hobby is collecting stamps. I love them. It gives me pleasure just sitting and looking at them and arranging them. So
that's really nice, doctor. I don't think there's many who collect stamps these days.
Yes, because we don't use stamps very much, but I collect mint stamps. Malaysian stamps, I have almost all from the first stamp issued by Malaysia till now. So, yeah.
So, Doctor, who do you look up to in your life or your career?
I think in my life, it would be my parents. They were both government servants. When I graduated, I never thought of going to private practice, was just expected that I would go into government service. And they had very good work ethics. They were honest, their way of working, their honesty has rubbed off on me. And I think that's why I have certain ethics in my work, is because of my parents, both of them. And in work, who do I look up to? Oh dear, there are so many, but I really don't know. But I don't want to mention people which I know I look up to and I take advice from sometimes. But the people that I admire are those that are good at their work, know their work, and yet they know their limits. And when they need to know something, they will consult, even though they may be profs, they may be Professor Datos and all that, but they know exactly who to, consult with, discuss with, and then they make a decision. I really admire them, and there are many that I have worked with, but if I say it, then I miss someone else, I feel bad. So.
Okay, Doctor, that's fine. Doctor, what is one item in your bucket list that you're yet to accomplish?
Oh dear. I mean, do I have a bucket list? Oh dear. Actually, oh dear. I know what I haven't done. I have not gone for a cruise. Yes, that is something I wanted to do, is go for a cruise.
Yes.
And we've had some plans. I cannot go for a cruise alone. I'm not a person to lie in the sun and talk to strangers. So, yes, I would like to go for a cruise with my classmates or my school classmates or my good friends. Yes, that would be something on my bucket list that I have not done.
Yes, okay. Okay, Doctor, any pets, Doctor?
Sorry?
Do you have any pets?
Oh, I have 2 cats. I had dogs, but I love dogs. I love pets. But since I decided that I have to live in an apartment, so for the past 1.5 years, I've not had dogs, but yeah, I have 2 cats. I still have 2 cats.
All right, Doctor. If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what food would you choose?
Now I have a fight between durian and char kway teow.
Are those your favorite food, Doctor?
Yeah, I'm a Penang girl at heart, so that char kway teow you can't take out of me. And I do so love durians. So yeah, it's between durian and char kway teow if it's only one food.
That's okay, Doctor. Okay, Doctor, so for your last question, what was your dream job rather than being a dentist before deciding to do dentistry?
Well, actually, I wanted to be a vet. But the problem was that I really love animals. And I like all animals. I love animals. But, I would get so angry with the client who's paying the bill, actually. So I said, I don't think I can do this, because you get really irritated when they don't take care of their animals, or they come when it's so late. So you'll be scolding all your clients. I don't think that'd be good for my business. So I decided no, and it might be a bit wearing, you get depressed and so I said, no, that's not good. And then I'm really good with my handwork. So decided dentistry would be the goal. So yeah, I would be veterinary science.
All right, Doctor. So with this, we have come to the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Doctor, for spending your time with us today. It was really a wonderful session, and I gained a lot, and I'm sure the audience who watches this video will gain a lot as well.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and it was more fun than I expected, even though you asked me to wear a jacket and look a bit formal. But thank you. You're good in your interviewing, and I enjoyed myself.
Thank you so much, Doctor. All right, Doctor. So we have come to the end of the interview. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and see you all in the next episode of Interview with Experts, Season 5.